Welcome back. This is live. Nilionjesha tu kina Celine na kina Jose dakika 2 alafu wameenda break tena. Leo wanajienjoy. But of course that's my gang, wametulia, wamerelax. Watakuja kufunga. Hao ndio closing committee kubwa sana chef de mission ya Sports Extravaganza. Tony Kolanda here. Niko na Moses chairman, anajiita Secretary General wa Nairobi Region Secondary Schools Sports Association. Ako na kofia mingi, wacha ile moja amevaa. Moses Mbudhia, he is the chairman of the Beach Volleyball Commission, but yeye amekuja na kofia Secretary General wa Nairobi Region. Ako pamoja na Fred Odhiambo, who is yeye ndio coach wa Nairobi mzima.
Overall team manager.
Overall TM wa Nairobi Region during these secondary school games. Regions that are currently of course going on. Tunangoja nationals. Karibuni sana gentlemen, it's good to have you. Tukimbie mbia. If you're joining us, watu wanashinda airtime. Sai 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. 8 of you have airtime. For answering a very simple question just like that. Nime scratch, unaweza ziona. Mimi ni mkweli. I am a truthful man like His Excellency the Deputy President. Nafanyanga vitu zangu kiwazi. Karibu sana. Bwana Secretary General, Nairobi Regions ndio hizo. Nasikia mmefurahi sana tumepeleka teams nationals. How has it been Nairobi? Kwa unajaribu kusema Nairobi hakuna team kali na
nani anakuambia? We are the defending champion of volleyball. Naendelea kuhesabu. We are the defending champion of lawn tennis. Yes. Badminton. Niendelee nisiendelee?
Una list acha I'm losing count How has it been? Yes, of course. Fred Odhiambo, teams mazi inakaa nyinyi, kwani what is special about Nairobi? What's so good? The technical, what is there in Nairobi that easy regions zingine hazina?
No, this is the hub of this nation. Not only as a capital city. This is where you get the best coaches. This is where you get the best referees and umpires. And we've got the catchment of all students from all over. So that gives us an edge. Watu watasema sisi ni mchele, but tuko na talent in this city.
Indeed, true.
Yes.
Bwana Secretary General, Nairobi Region finals are here coming up. Of course, I'm sure you've seen or heard about the other regions, how they are. Competition haitakuwa rahisi kule Kisumu.
Yes, you cannot underrate anybody who has made it up to that Olympic of secondary school, because this is our own mean Olympic.
True. And
Odhiambo will tell you here that we had an explosive activity in Jamhuri High School, where even his team won, and he's making it to Rugby 7 at the Nationals. And to answer your question directly, it will not be easy, it will not be a walk in the park. And we are aware of all that. We have our own mechanism, the stop caps, and a plan on how we are going to overcome some of the hurdles that we have at the Nationals. Last year, we made it to the national, and even our soccer team made it up the final. Remember Dagoretti? With that kind of cloud support of Western, we made it to the final. And we only, they only scored us 1 goal.
Yeah, it was tough.
Yes, with all that number. So we are equal to the task, and of course there are things that we are planning. Some of them we are not saying them over this screen, because we also have our own strategy of how to overcome. As we are talking, we know what is happening right now in Western, the Namwera, the whatever, because the games are on. With the technology now, we have the links, and we are trying to look at who is who. Yes.
And TM, you know, we are always proud of these games every year, every time. Do we normally have a follow-up? I know you have this hotbed of talents, zinakuja huku volleyball, wapi, football. Do we do a follow-up of these players? How do we assist them to transition from secondary now to that prematurity, then to maturity, to being the people that you want to shine out there? Why not work from this mini Olympics now, at least what our end huko kama Olympics huko?
There's a lot of interest in these games, besides us, the coaches and the teachers who nurture the young people. Remember, we've always had scouts coming for national games.
Yes.
We have got universities that want to admit the athletes who have shown the potential. We've got scholarship. We have Strathmore, we have got the USIU. And remember, even the volleyball, Mr. Mbudia here will agree with you, that even the current team, Soweto, that is going to represent Nairobi, is a feeder to the national team. When it comes to the starlets, we have got the feeders. Remember, we were having soccer under 16, soccer under 20 in China.
Yes.
That is an opportunity to expose the young. That is part of the program. Remember, the school games go beyond Kenyan activities, go to East Africa. We are not talking about World School Games. And just today, we have our girls and our boys who were landed back just the other day from Tanzania. That is basketball under 16 national team, our young ones. So there's a lot of interest, there's a lot of follow-up, not only by us, but all the interested stakeholders.
Indeed.
And
yes.
Most teachers
yes.
always want to follow up. We want to know where our children are going. Yeah. But there's still a lot to be done. There's a lot of space yet to be covered.
Bwana Secretary, the other day, Highway Secondary School, if I'm not wrong,
Yes.
qualified, actually won the inaugural Europe Day Kenya football tournament.
The European Union.
Yes, football tournament. They were starting in the boys category.
Yes.
And such kind of exposure, I'm sure, puts Nairobi like,
after winning, they will represent us now in
Romania.
Yeah. And last year, they were also to represent us in Morocco. And volleyball, we are to be represented by Quadrante in Serbia. Because your question initially was, how do we look at them go up the radar? And because that is also our interest as coaches and teachers. And we can tell you here, for example, when we had our own finals, anytime one was getting a medal, we had to mention this one has represented the country in Birmingham during Commonwealth Games. This one is the best lawn tenniser we have in the whole of East Africa. And we follow them to where they train. That is at Nairobi Club. Volleyball, you've just been told. Even the Olympic team that is in Miramas right now, the two girls, the two attackers are from Soweto Secondary School. The 5 are from Quadrante. And that makes us sleep happy in the evening when we see them go up the ladder. And all these things are encapsulated in the discipline of the teachers and the proper follow-up. And as I have told you, ours is not about money. It's to see that young one go up.
TM, how much support are you getting from, how involved is the government? I know right now, the government is getting a lot of bullets left, right, center about not, or about doing, about not doing.
Yeah.
And here you have all these tools or weapons through the children, through their talent. But you can only do so much if the government does not help you or helps you.
Yeah, sure.
How is that relationship?
The government has a duty to give opportunity to every Kenyan.
Yes.
And indeed, they have done that. The school activities, the main sponsor. We have Brookside, we have other sponsors coming in.
Yes.
But the primary platform is offered by our Kenyan government. Ministry of Education.
Yes.
This capitation that comes to schools. And out of that, students are able to participate in activities right from zonal level, what we call the sub-counties, all the way to the nationals. And they are supported. Without finances, you cannot have these children playing all the way to East Africa School Games.
True.
So that primary support and platform is given by the government. They are the main sponsors. And then now we have other sponsors. Like last time, we've had Brookside bringing in 30 million. Great boost. Is a boost to the primary sponsorship by the government.
Indeed, of course, I've had the opportunity to cover these games both here and internationally. I've been to Uganda, to Tanzania, to all these countries covering these games. And I know, Mbudi, of course, we've walked with you this journey.
That's a long journey.
Since when I was still
those days,
60 kilograms.
I didn't have gray hair. You were so
I was
tiny.
just like us.
But that will be a story for another day.
Yeah, tutaongea nyuma ya tent.
Nyuma ya tent.
But of course, looking at just the way TM has mentioned that there needs to be that transition of these players. Malkia strikers are in Mirabas, representing us. Sure. And I know schools have really zimechangia sana into this Malkia striker. Some, of course, name some of those names because most people think, oh, how alitokea to from nowhere. But there's been feeding program from the schools. I
think they say Mgara muwe lakini hakimpe. There's one single teacher from Kwadhanse by the name Justin Kigwari. Kigwari has produced not one, not two, not three. If you look at the Kenya prison women team, you look at the KCB women team, you look at the DCI, they have all passed through the hands of Kigwari and Mr. Wycliffe from Soweto and few others from Western Kenya. That is where we have Marava girls and the others. So I can tell you that those young girls that you see in the Malkia strikers, they have not been transformed by Vitok. They have not been transformed by Munara. It is those teachers in those respective schools. In fact, they just hand over them to the Munaras and Baraza and Vitok of this world, but the teachers do the donkey's work. I have just given his own example of Nairobi School, where he has produced very good rugby 7, and now look at how we are doing it in the world. And it was just born the other day by Kenya Secondary School Sports Association in 2004 in Mumias, where we first had the first rugby 7 in secondary school. From that time, it has never been the same. We have conquered the whole world. Same thing happening with the 3-on-3, as we are talking. Look at volleyball we are talking about. We are now the champions of Africa. We are the champions of East Africa, both men and women. And this is courtesy of our teachers who are never paid for overtime in the evening when they train. And so I can only salute our teachers for a job well done. The government, as he has indicated, because all the referees and everything else is taken care of by the government. And of course, the super organization of Kenya Secondary School Sports Association. From the time you had the inception of SOYA 20 years ago, Kenya Secondary School has won more than 11 times. That tells you a lot, that there is transparency. I know you're going to the question of do we have Mamuruki, as they call them. Yes. Do we have overage students?
Okay.
But those are mechanisms that are taken care of. We only look at the negative, but the positive
is where we
have a lot of positive things.
As we sort out your microphone, sorry for that microphone. Unajua chairman akiongea anahitaji 2 lapels.
I don't need
let me ask Fred, looking at, of course, the Olympics, we have, of course, the rugby. We have the rugby 7s who've been there previously in the previous Olympics. Secondary schools, Nairobi and other regions definitely have played a huge role in some of the players who represent us outside the country.
Yeah, definitely.
Some of them, and how Nairobi has fared in terms of feeding into that team for Kenya.
I might not have the
I don't know the statistics, but of course rugby is one here.
But
I've covered them in Rwanda. I've seen those young boys.
Remember, rugby starts from the high schools.
True.
Big high schools. You're talking about Lenana School. You're talking about Butula, Koyonzo. You're talking about Nairobi School.
How Musingu, Agoro Sare.
Where you are?
Mwana mtaki kusema shule zetu bwana.
Tutakuja kwa soka. When we come to soccer, we'll mention them. Yes. But those are the feeders. Yes. Yeah. And you talk about rugby. That is where you talk about football, not for any bias or whatever. We've got academies bringing up and nurturing children from a tender age. Yes. Rugby, of course, you started that path, but the birth of rugby is high school.
True.
Yeah. So the primary coaches, the teachers,
yes,
are to be saluted because they instill the initial skills. They only come to polish at national level and they do a good job because we have got all games. For us to have volleyball, for us to have basketball and rugby at that level, it also means that those federations, the KBF, KVF, are doing a great job. And we want to salute the rugby fraternity, because they do not let the hard work we do, go to waste. They bring it into fruition. And I know we are beating Australia in Paris.
Indeed.
Samoa, we're beating them.
Asante. Sekjen, before I let you go, a bird is whispering in my ear that you are seen taking your CV to State House.
Well, we are in a very open society. Nimetosha. I mean, I don't need anybody's backing. And I'm also a truthful man, you know it. But I fight for that one, I fight for Mau Mau. If they're going to start a ministry of Mau Mau and that one, we shall go back behind the tent, as you have said. You know, he's not telling you. Yeah. Today we just decided, let's have these young ones also talk about issues. And I don't want to mention your other live on TV, but about a battery of our students were in the TV station talking about the games themselves. And we are challenging you that you invite the overall team.
Bona hujakuja na wamo, Bwana Secretary General, wako wapi? Kwani umewaacha kwa gari?
Very well that you had a lot. You had to interview the PAs, you had to interview all these other people because of the Olympics. So we didn't want to disturb you. But he has heard that as the overall team manager, when they come back from either Kisii or Kisumu,
wakuje, afadhali TM. Walete ama vijana na wasichana hapa. Chagua wale wakuje, because when they start learning how to these kind of interactions. Fred Odhiambo, sio? Unless I'm locking out before niende break ingine, najua wanataka kunikimbiza hapa. Secretary General, umeshiba. Najua ulikuwa umesema vitu kadhaa, umefurahi. Watu wa Nairobi, congratulations. Mimi ni mtu ya Western Kenya.
Hawajamaliza game.
Hawajamaliza game.
Na wewe unafanya kazi Nairobi. Shilingi yako unaipata Nairobi.
Kura yangu
ni kwenda kwa cheki wazazi.
Kupiga kura ya siasa ya 2027. Yes. But of course, thank you very much, Secretary General Moses Mbuthia, the Nairobi region.
Humbled by your way of handling the microphone.
Karibu
you are ever busy.
Asante.
I did ask, a question. Are you always in this happy at home?
It is important. That is kwa sababu there is no other day you'll never be happy. This is the only time you can be happy.
Sure.
Asante sana. Fred Odhiambo, TM Nairobi region. Asante sana for making
Secretary of Westland Sub-County.
Na Secretary wa Wadosi ya Westland.
Ede anabeba pesa.
Ndio. Asanteni sana for making time. And the entire Nairobi region leadership and the Kenya Secondary Schools leadership, asanteni sana. And Kongole for giving our young ones the best. This is Sports Extravaganza. We are taking a very short break unless the director tells me otherwise.